I wonder why human beings throughout the world don't see this simple fact that you cannot possibly have peace on earth if you are nationalistically divided. We want order outside in the world, politically, religiously, economically, socially. In our relationship with each other, we want order. We want some peace. We want some understanding. And if the inward psychological state is not orderly, not conflicting, not contradicting, if that state in consciousness is quiet, steady, clear, then you can bring about order in the world. Now what we are trying to do is try to bring order legislatively, nationally, and so on, order out there in the world, which has been proved over and over again that totally brings about disorder. That's why we are saying, I'm saying, that without inward order, that is, inward order in consciousness, which is in a mess, which is in a contradiction, without bringing about order inwardly, psychologically, you cannot possibly have order outwardly. And the crisis is there. Within the crisis, national, economic, social, and so on. The crisis is not out there. The crisis is really inward. And we are unwilling to face that. Who is there to tell you what to do? See, when we are children, the parents tell you what to do. That same mentality is cultivated right through life. In school, you are told what to do. In college, you are told what to do. In university, right through life, somebody tells you, this is right, this is wrong, this should be done, that should not be done. Which means what? There is no self-investigation. There is no saying, I am really the rest of mankind, but you are. Because every human being right through the world goes through a great deal of suffering, great deal of pain, great deal of anxiety, uncertain, confused, insecure, like you, like the rest of the world. We don't accept that. We think my suffering is totally separate from other people's suffering. And so, we have this mentality that I must have somebody to tell me what to do. Right from the Pope down to the poor parish priest. Psychologically, why should I accept what somebody else says? When I realize that I am the rest of mankind. Mankind is me. The me is the history of mankind, the book of mankind. If I know how to read it, I don't depend on anybody. So, can I, without distortion, without prejudice, without choice, be aware of the content of this book, which is me? To read it very carefully, never distorting it, requires a great deal of attention, great deal of energy, intensity, immediacy. And we are not willing to do all that because we think that's too tiresome. tell me quickly what to do, and I will do it. Or I may not do it. Generally, I may not do it. Through negation of what is not, the positive exists. That is, love is not desire. Love is not pleasure. Love is not a remembrance. It is as strong as death, as vital as life. And you see, love can only exist when there is no suffering. Suffering is personal. Suffering is also global. Man has suffered endlessly. And he tries to combine that suffering with what he calls love. And so there's always this contradiction, this duality. Whereas if you deny all that is that which is not love, then the other thing has its immense beauty, great strength and vitality of its own. You've heard all this, you as a human being. Why don't you change? What prevents you? If each one of us asks that question, not verbally or merely intellectually as an entertainment, but ask that question most seriously and deeply, what's your answer? What's your answer to this problem that human beings have lived this way for millennia upon millennia? Why haven't they changed? Why haven't you, who are listening now, why haven't you changed? You know, if you don't change, what's the consequences are? You'll be nationalistic, you'll be tribal, insular, isolated, and therefore having no relationship globally, fighting, building up more and more armaments, destroy each other. Now, why don't you, if you are at all serious in this matter, why don't you ask yourself that question? Why am I, a human being who have been through all this, why haven't I changed? What would be your answer? After all, life is one. One global unitary movement. So, in the same way, our consciousness is common to all mankind. Now, if I radically change, surely it affects the rest of the consciousness of man. Now, why don't you change?